I have seen shadow people all my life. They have never bothered me. Growing up, I have always thought they were my friends. Most of the time, I'd catch them out of the corner of my eye, and as an adult, I would see them watching me from around the corner or down a hall. Then I moved to where I live now and encountered something new. Living in my place for about 2 weeks and began seeing the shadow of people in my new home and around where I lived. I acknowledged them and left it at that. My son had gone to sleep at his sister's house for the night, and I was sitting outside sketching. I heard feet shuffling, so I looked up and saw a shadow person and said, "I see you. If you need something, you have to let me know. I do not read minds." The doorknob to the door I was leaning against started to rattle. When I looked back at the shadow creature, it was closer. I said, "Are you telling me to go inside?" I laughed, and the doorknob rattled again. From across the road, I saw another shadow creature. Sighing, I said, "Come on guys, I am off tomorrow and enjoying sitting out here. It's not hot out, and I like being outside." Then I noticed that they kept looking toward what my future boyfriend's rental would be. We had just started to talk and get to know each other. I looked over and said, "I just met him, guys. The lights in his house are off, so he is not there or sleeping." The shadow person near me came closer and raised his hand, pointing up, and then I got why they wanted me to go inside. I opened the door, shutting my light off, and said, "Well, I'll be." On the roof of his trailer were 4 shadow creatures. These did not look like normal shadow creatures, but weird-looking distorted creatures. One looked like a spider and human hybrid. Another looked like a human but with multiple arms. The third looked like a human, but its body arched backward with its legs and arms on the ground. It looked like it had a second body in the middle. The 4th and final one would be the one I met personally. It looked like a shadow man but built like a linebacker. It also had wings. I thanked the goddess at that moment that I had warded my home the night I moved in. Both the shadow creatures were now between me and my boyfriend's trailer. My doorknob rattled again. I went inside, pulled out my spell book, cast a protection spell for myself, and then cast one for my now boyfriend. By the time I finished, I was weak and tired. I went outside again, this time to walk my dog in my yard, and said to the shadow man still watching over my house, "That should help a bit." It nodded, and I went inside to go to sleep. But before I did, I looked out my window as I could see my boyfriend's trailer, and I noticed the creatures were mad. They had been dipping into the trailer when I first saw them, and now it looked like they could not enter his house. I smiled and said to no one in particular, "Not on my watch." The linebacker-shaped head popped up when I said it and looked at my house. I knew it heard me, and it knew what I had done. My doorknob to the front door rattled again. I said, "Guys, I will be fine. They are not the scariest thing I have faced." The door rattled again and popped open. Sighing, I said, "Fine, I will go inside and watch a movie." Later that night, I woke up feeling like someone was watching me. Looking around the room, I saw one of the shadows at the end of my bed. I said, "We are not going to make it a habit for you to come into the house." It put up its hands, pointing to the window. Knowing it was trying to tell me something, I nodded and looked. The linebacker was on my driveway pacing. It could not get on or next to my house. Checking my clock, I saw that it was 4 in the morning. I went to the door and looked out. There were lights on in my boyfriend's house. I took a breath and went outside. The linebacker stopped pacing and looked at me. I said in a calm voice, "Sorry pal, there is a new sheriff in town. He is under my protection, and you will not harm him." The plastic chair on the driveway shifted, and I said, "Before you mess with someone, you may want to know where she comes from. I have dealt with a lot more scary creatures than you. I am a descendant of the ones they could not burn or torture. My guardian will protect me." It jumped to the trees, and I heard a voice that said, "This is not over.